Okay, we're back for part 4 of the Axial scx10 dingo build. And what we've got is if you watched part 3, at the end of that we were going to mount the motor. So I got my motor mounted, and the one thing I wanted to bring up is for you to actually take a little time when you're setting the mesh on there for your gears. You ought to have just a little slack, and make sure you go around and that it's the same, so that you know that your gears completely round. So take a little time, make sure you get it right. Everything should spin real freely. This seems a little tight. If it looks like it's a little tight, it's just because it's the 65 turn motor. Transmission spins fine, everything's mashed real well. It's just, you know, a heavy turn motor, so it spins a little hard. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and put this cover on. We're pretty much done with the transmission for the most part, so we'll get this cover on real quick. And I like to get all the screws started before I start cranking them down. And these pieces are all plastic too, and they got heavy thread screws, so you'll want to just move yourself around, because they'll heat up the plastic real quick and strip it out. And you don't need to get real heavy-handed with it. Just kind of snug it up to where the driver will want to slip out your hand, because it sure doesn't take much to make them strip out of this plastic. Alright, so we got that part. Looks like the next thing we're going to do is mount this on the transmission plate, so we'll get that out real quick. Now on this, you got two longer screws and two shorter. You got to pay attention to that, because down in here, if you look at the sides of this transmission, you can tell that this would take the longer, and the front here close to the motor would take the shorter. So we'll do that, and you want to make sure you got the plate facing the right way. You can move these around. If you get a digs unit or something, you can turn the transmission around if you need to make the servo and everything fit in there. So old saying, you never have the right driver in your hand when you need it. Go ahead and put a short one in here. Get everything lined up. Same thing again, you got to be careful because it's all plastic, so you want to over tighten this for sure, because last thing you want is your transmission bouncing around in there. Okay, so we got that done. Let's see what they want us to do next. Okay, next we'll be taking the front axle and mounting the servo plate on and getting that put together. So give me a second to get the parts out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I think we got everything we need now. I had to open bag E for this, and then there was a few plastic parts you had to hunt down. You had to get a couple of your servo holders, and I went ahead and got my arm. I prefer to use these aluminum arms with the lock. And these aren't very expensive servos here. These are your Tower Pro. I don't know if you can see that here, but it's the Tower Pro MG996R. They're high torque. They got about, I think it's 208 ounces of torque. Like I say, I like to go slow and crawl, so I don't like using these servo savers or anything, because they just mess you up while you're trying to crawl and all. So you get on eBay, you can get like 5 of these for 20 bucks if you look around, so you can't beat that with a stick. Alright, well, let's get started. Let's see, we're going to need this bag here. These little magnetic trays also are the way to go. Keep your stuff from flying around. Alright, so what we're going to do is we'll grab this, and these got little indents in them. Those need to face up. Then we'll put these little pieces. Let's see what kind of screw we got to use here. These got the little rounded head ones. Alright. Get that. That looks like it's a number 2. Screw these on. Looks like they only have one screw, so just kind of want to line up your edge, give it a little snug. And this other side is slotted, so we'll get this one on, but we won't tighten it 100%, so when we put our servo on, it can move a little bit. Oh, and I put it on upside down. Gotta love live. No sense of cutting it out. Everybody makes mistakes, so catch them and fix them. Alright, so that's that plate right there. That's 25 and 26. We're going to mount this right here on this truck axle, the front axle. And let's see what we got here. I love how these pictures are the exact size of the screws you need. Looks like we're going to need 2 66s, which is not this one. There we go. And those go in here, in the longer ones. And we find what we did with our plate. And then the shorter one goes back here. Stagger so we don't strip. Just till you feel it grab. Another good tip with plastic and metal screws, if you find that your screws are backing out of your plastic, get you a little shoe goo and put it just on the tip of the screw. Then when you screw it in there, It's pretty much like a plastic thread lock, and if you have to take it back apart, the shoe glue will just wiggle out and not mar out your plastic, so that works real well for that. Alright, well there's that piece. That's step 26, and 27 is going to have us mounting our servo horn and things like that. So I'm going to do that real quick. That's kind of simple, and I'll be right back. Okay, well there we go with the mounting the servo. We got our arm on there and the servo mounted. Went ahead and tightened the nut up under here to make sure everything were where it was supposed to be at. And so we're doing good there. So now our next step will be building the steering links here. And I'll get the parts out for that, and then we'll get that done real quick. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I got my little rod ends. Got little oil threads in here in the pipe. I wanted to bring up another little thing I saw on this instructions that don't match. These bent ends here, see how they got a little bend on them? They say they're supposed to be on the AX8005, which is this tree right here, and they say they're number 4. Well, as you see, this is number 4. That is definitely not them. They're actually number 2. So pictures are kind of, you know, you can figure out what's going on, but there are a few mistakes on the direction, so just bringing that up so everybody can see it. Alright, and these are going to be basically the same thing we did last time. Take an end, put it on another tool, get your small thread, screw it onto the ends. These straight ones are for the little arm that goes on your servo. Alright, you're supposed to have one facing this way and the other, so when you turn it, they're side. And then these long rod, I'm going to pay a little more attention to, because just like the links, I want to have the side of the tube that says Axial facing out, just because I like it. It doesn't really matter, you don't specify it, just it's there, why not? Found the right pliers here. There we go. Alright, the nose face like that, so when it's on the front you'll see, when it's steering you'll see the writing. That's just the way I like it. It doesn't really matter. It'll probably get scratched off from rocks so quick it won't even matter, but anyhow. Alright, now it wants us to take the longest screw that's left, and well, better put some of these ball ends in or it ain't gonna work very well with it. Pay attention to what sides are having the flat. So this one like this, the flat will go back here. And this one will come from up. Alright. You take the long screw through there. You got a little washer, which is also aluminum in this kit, which is nice. The regular kits, if you got it ready to run, it would be plastic. The kits, they tend to give you a little bit better parts because you're building it. And then they want you to go through the furthest hole out. Oops. Now you can shove this right through if you want. It's kind of tight. I kind of like the idea that it's threading through the plastic. Then it gets backed with a Nylar nut. Use your little wrench. These little wrenches seem crazy, but my God, they come in handy. Every kit you get has one, and must have 30 of them. And I still run right back to them. You can tell that's bumping my servo arm. I prefer these long servo arms because I get such a travel with it. So I'm going to see how that it's going to affect it. And I'm most likely going to use this upper hole. And if that's the problem, I'll just take it on the grinder and grind this bottom half flat, because I prefer these aluminum ones that lock on. But we'll see what happens. It might not even turn that far or be a problem. And I might even change this to a pan hard kit, so we'll see how it goes. Let's get this, finish putting this on here. Nope, it actually misses it once it was tightened up. It's close, but It might bump it just a tiny bit, but I don't believe that's going to be a problem. Okay, and the last thing they want us to do is put that screw into our, which might be too long for this. We'll see. You know, I've got all kinds of kits if I need to. No, it's just right. Alright. Well, there's the steering arm. It all seems to work well. And that's it for this part. And I'll see what's coming up next. So give me just a minute and I'll be right back. Okay. The next thing we got here is the frame. And I myself like to lay my pieces out on the book because there is a slight difference on a few. The front and rear have different shock towers, so you got to be careful of that. And it definitely doesn't tell you on the piece, it only tells you on the tree. So if you set it out, at least you got that part going for you. So what we're going to do now is assemble the frame, and it's pretty basic. It really doesn't take a whole lot to figure it out, so I just wanted to show you the parts laid out. I'm going to put one side together real quick, and then I'll be right back and I'll show you what's going on, and we'll pick it up from there. Alright, I'll be back just a second. Okay, here we go. We got one half put together, and I find myself this is the easiest. Plus I always like to start with the half. It's got these crazy little wire holders. Just become pesty when you do the other. And the easy part is you just flip this up and you'll grab your other half and you can just set it on top here and bolt everything up, and easy peasy. Alright, so I'm going to get that other part bolted up and I'll be right back. Okay, there you go. We got the frame all together. It's all looking good. And I actually have a piece on backwards. I don't know if you can see, so watch out for that. But you see how this is leaning forward? Let's see if I can get a better shot. Yeah, that's supposed to be facing the other way, so I got that part on backwards, so we'll fix that real quick. And so pay attention. So I'll get this part changed out real quick, and I'll be right back and we'll see what's next, and if we got time to do something else real quick. And if we do, I'll go ahead and get that. So yeah, you got to pay attention. I've built a lot of these scx10s and I should have caught that. Well, I guess I did catch it, but I should have caught it sooner. I guess that goes to show you now how many you build. You got watch what you're doing. Don't get too comfortable because you'll mess up. Okay, that's better. Alright, let's see what we got next. We'll be attaching the axles front and rear to the frame, and then after that we'll go building the bumper. So let me get the parts back out here. We'll do the axles to the frame, so we got almost a roller, and then we'll stop it there for this one. Alright, I'll be back in just a second. Okay, we're going to start with the front axle here. And it looks like the first thing they want us to do is, come on silly, to attach the drive shaft and the links. Alright. So they want us to grab one of the rock slides. Attached to the top link, and they want us to use a 119 screw, which is right here. So this will go through here. Now, I was looking in the extra parts of this kit, and you can change this into a 4-link if you like. I'm gonna stick with this Y setting for right now and see how it runs. It's the first scx10 I put together that had it in the front and the rear, and I want to see if it affects the articulation or anything any to where it turns, you know, it twists better. So I'm going to give it a shot, and if I don't like it, I'll do what I did with the rest of it, and just about every one of my other ones I've changed over to the 4-link for some reason or another, but they've only had the Y connector on there on the front, so I'm going to see what if it makes a difference on the front and rear, and go from there. One side. Alright, well, I'm going to get this other side on real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, after we got the top links on, the bottoms will go into where your transmission plate is. Try to line them up. Alright, so now that pretty much attaches your links, everything on there. You see, that gives it pretty good travel. So let's see what they want us to do next. Alright, next they're going to want us to put the shocks in the towers. I need a few more ball ends here for the shocks. You want the reservoirs to face the back. So make sure you put the ball ends correctly. This is going to use a threaded screw right here. And they're wanting us to use a spacer also, so let me find this spacer. Got them. Watch yourself with a razor, man. Otherwise, don't do what I do. I happen to have one of those jobs I use my hands all the time, so they're tough as a cob, but you don't want to be doing that and get a razor slice on it. Okay, now the dingo takes this right in its dead center here hole, so let's get that on. Sure we get the right screw. I'm going to note also that I've got just about every Axial kit that they've got out. I got the G6 and the Honcho and the Wraith and all the others. And what I found out on a lot of the other ones, that when you did this suspension like this, your servo would hit this bar. So I'm not really sure if they fixed that, because you used to have to take a Dremel and notch this out. So I'm not sure if they fixed that or if it's just the length of the links and everything have changed it back. But this is my first one I built where that didn't hit this part right here. So that's real nice, because I was expecting to have to Dremel that out, and I almost did it out of habit, but I decided to wait and see. So I'm glad I waited. Alright, the next they're going to want us to do is put the rear together, and that's pretty much done exactly the same way. So give me a second and I'll get some of that out and I'll be right back. Okay. We're finishing up here with the rear shocks, and this is as far as I'm gonna go on this one. Just wanted you to see the frame part done. This is basically a rolling chassis now. Alright, so we got our suspensions working well and nothing's binding. I still got to put these pins in the drive shafts, but not that big of a deal. So I'm going to finish that part up, and then when we come back on the next video, that is, this one's getting a little long. Let's see. We're going to be putting the bumpers together and things like that. So next video we'll put the bumpers together, put the battery tray on, and the receiver box, and maybe even get the tires put together. And then the next video after that we'll be putting the body together. So that'll be it for this one. And so please like, please comment, please subscribe, and I hope this helps somebody. Until next time, bye.